Hello, folks. Welcome to MLS Matchday 29 prediction video. We had a great day at Matchday 28. Of course, Kim Yun-sun made his debut. We'll see that more this week, of course, tomorrow. So let's get to it. We start off New England taking on LAFC at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. New England is coming off a 2-0 win against DC United. We'll look to keep that up against an LAFC squad that did introduce Kim Yun-sun, but ended in a 2-2 draw against Chicago. Will we see Kim Yun-sun score his first MLS goal? I do think so. So give me LAFC winning it 2-0. Orlando taking on New York City Football Club at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Orlando coming off a 4-1 win against their rivals, Miami. And yes, Derby, Florida is still purple. They're going to take on New York City, who are trying to find their groove to get it climbing up to that standings. At least they're in that playoff spot. So we'll see where they go in this here. But this, for me, is a trap game for Orlando. So I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Toronto taking on Columbus at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Toronto come off a draw, 1-1. Good result there. Great result for you guys. They're gonna take on Columbus. Yep. A Columbus crew that are trying to get to the top 3. And they're in that top 5, but yes. Their season's going from an up and down year. But I still think Columbus wins it, so give me Columbus winning it 4-1. DC United on the road going to Montreal at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. This should be a real interesting one because, yes, I already mentioned DC losing the 2-0 to New England, while Montreal put a point of 1-1 draw against Atlanta. So this is one of those, well, somebody has to step up game. I'll go with a draw, 0-0 draw. Miami taking on LA Galaxy at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Miami will look to bounce back after a 4-1 loss to Orlando. They're going to take on a Galaxy team that also are looking to get back on track with after a 4-0 loss to Seattle. This should be a real treat, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 win Miami. Charlotte taking on Real Salt Lake at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Charlotte coming off a big-time win against Cincinnati on the road. They welcome Real Salt Lake, who are coming off a tough loss to New York Red Bulls 2-1. This should be interesting, but I will also call this a trap game. Because, yes, after a big win, you always end up losing in these kinds of trap games. But this should be a one a lot of people will keep an eye on. And, of course, Charlotte is trying to fight for a playoff spot. So give me a draw, 1-1 draw. New York Red Bulls taking on Philadelphia at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. New York Red Bulls coming off a 2-1 win against Real Salt Lake. They will look to get that performance, same performance against Philadelphia, who drew to Toronto. And, of course, they are first place in the Eastern Conference. So this should be a huge game for Philadelphia. I'll give a draw, 1-1. Chicago taking on St. Louis at 8:30 p.m. Eastern game. Chicago came off with a draw 2-2 against LAFC. They welcome St. Louis after coming off a big win against Nashville 3-1. Should be interesting. Give me a 2-1 win Chicago. Austin taking on Dallas at 8:30 p.m. Eastern game. Austin coming off a 2-2 draw against their rivals Houston. And now they got to face another rivals of their own in FC Dallas, who are coming off a 2-0 win against Portland. Very decent game for this one. I'll give Dallas the edge, 2-1. Minnesota taking on Seattle, 8:30 p.m. Eastern game. This should be a treat because Minnesota is coming off a 2-1 loss to Colorado. And they are taking on a Seattle team that just scored 4 goals against LA Galaxy. This should be a real treat. These two know each other. I believe In Sunday night soccer, just about 3 4 weeks ago, Minnesota won that, but I'll give Seattle this one a 3-2 win. Colorado taking on Atlanta at 9:30 p.m. Eastern game. Colorado coming off a 2-1 win against Minnesota, and they will welcome Atlanta, who came in to draw 1-1 to Montreal. Both sides need this because they are trying to fight for a playoff spot, which it is coming in 2 months. So they got to get these results in a win and you're in scenario. Give me a draw, 0-0. Next up, we have Portland taking on Cincinnati at 10:30 p.m. Eastern game on Saturday. This should be a real good game. This is the M. Bamber's revenge game, who he played with Portland and now got left to Cincinnati. Should be a fun one. Portland coming off a 2-0 loss to DC Dallas, or FC Dallas, sorry. But for Cincinnati, coming off a tough loss against Charlotte FC, and now they're in a situation where they're looking to hunt for that top spot in the East. I think this should be a great game. This should be a fun one. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be close, but I just don't think Cincinnati gets that win. I think it's going to be a draw, 1-1. We go to Sunday. New York City Football Club taking on Nashville at 5 p.m. Eastern game. Both of them are looking to get back on track, of course, for New York City Football Club, who are in a position to climb out to the standings. They're going to take on Nashville, who are coming off a 3-1 loss. Yep, a 3-1 loss to St. Louis. Yikes. I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Next up, we have the Sunday night soccer event between San Jose and San Diego FC at 7 p.m. Eastern game. This should be a real good game between these two teams. San Jose, of course, coming off a 2-1 win against Vancouver, while for San Diego, a 2-1 win against Kansas City. This should be a real treat, but who needs it most? Does San Jose need it? Because, yes, they're trying to get into the playoffs. Or does San Diego need it more? Because, yes, they're trying to stay at the top of the West. Give me San Diego 2-1 win. And finally, the Thomas Müller debut. The former Bayern Munich midfielder makes his Vancouver debut on Sunday against Houston at 9 p.m. Eastern game. This should be fun. Of course, Houston coming off a 2-2 draw to their rivals, Austin. But Vancouver, we're starting to see their fallout after their loss to San Jose. I think this should be a win. Give me a 3-0 win against Houston. Also, I forgot to mention Kansas City. I'm assuming Kansas City is playing Orlando. So if that is Orlando, Kansas City, or Kansas City, Nashville, my apologies. That was a misunderstanding, but my apologies for that. Without further ado, that is my MLS Matchday 29 prediction video. If you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more sports news.